From the JAMA Network, this is JAMA Ophthalmology Author Interviews. Conversations with authors exploring the latest clinical research, reviews, and opinions featured in JAMA Ophthalmology.
Hello and welcome to our listeners around the world. You're listening to JAMA Ophthalmology Author Interviews. Thank you all for joining us. I'm Neil Bressler, Editor-in-Chief of JAMA Ophthalmology, and today we're going to look at a web-based amblyopia decision support tool, which has been named the Amblyopia Navigator Decision Support Instrument. Joining me is the first author of a special communication describing the tool, Dr. Allison Summers. Dr. Summers is an associate professor of ophthalmology with the School of Medicine at the Oregon Health and Science University in Portland, Oregon, and participated in this special communication with her co-authors for the Pediatric Eye Disease Investigator Group, known as PDIG. Allison, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Please tell us, why was it perceived necessary to develop a web-based amblyopia decision support tool? Did eye doctors need this? Were pediatricians looking for this? What was the perceived necessity of all this?
So, because there is a shortage of specialty trained eye care providers in the U.S., most of the children having eye exams are seen by comprehensive optometrists and comprehensive ophthalmologists. So we saw a need to support them in these everyday decisions that they're making in their busy practices.
And how is it decided then to develop this specific tool?
Originally, in the Pediatric Eye Disease Investigator Group, PDIG, we have a process where individual investigators can propose a study idea. And so Don Everett from the NEI and I proposed an idea of roughly this project of having some sort of decision support tool for general ophthalmologists and general optometrists to help them in these decisions that they're having day to day in their clinics in treating amblyopia. There's a lot of evidence out there in amblyopia, and it's hard to follow that if you're trying to manage all of the other conditions in that busy practice. So we proposed an idea for a decision support tool that was some sort of app, and then did a survey of some general optometrists and ophthalmologists to see what they might be interested in as far as supports, and utilize that to form a committee in PDIG and decide on the way that this would happen. So we met for a few years coming up with, should it be an app? Should it cover all of eye exams? Should it cover just amblyopia? And eventually settled on this decision support tool for those that have amblyopia or suspected amblyopia in the age range of 3 to less than 18 years old, to try to help those providers in handling those bulk of cases that they're seeing in their clinics. So the bulk of the children who are in everyday practice having eye exams.
Before we get into what we're monitoring here or what we're measuring, how does the tool physically work? Is this on a phone? Is it on your laptop? Is it contained within your electronic health record system? Where is this tool sitting?
So the link to the tool is on the PDIG website, and it's a web-based app. So that means the user can simply go to the PDIG website, click on the link, and open up a web-based app from their smartphone, their desktop computer, their laptop computer. They'll enter some specific information about their patient, very basic things like age category, what was the best corrected visual acuity, and what treatments they might have done before. If they're having a dilated exam today, what was the cycloplegic refraction? And then the output tells them our suggestion for what glasses they should prescribe, what treatment should they prescribe, and what the follow-up would be.
And did you test this? Did you have pediatric ophthalmologists? Did you have optometrists use the tool, enter their data, and who decided if the decisions were correct or not?
So first, we started off by coming up with the decision tree, and that is what's published in the article, that flow diagram where the 22-member panel of subject matter experts in amblyopia, pediatric ophthalmologists, pediatric optometrists, data scientists, biostatistician, came together, looked over the literature, and had these evidence-based decisions fall into a decision support tool. As far as the app itself, then we designed the app to follow that flow diagram that's in the publication. And then those members on the panel who were clinicians, the pediatric optometrists and the pediatric ophthalmologists, tested it with some sample patients. And then we turned it over to our target users. We had surveyed some target users across the country in the past, and some had volunteered to be testers of the app when it came out. We reached back out to those volunteers and had them go in and test it in their own methods on their own artificial patients, not patients sitting in the chair, but sample patients that they had seen, entering in the data to help us work out the bugs.
So now when someone goes to that site and they use that, I understand it's a support tool, but does it indeed have the potential to guide the eye care provider as to what they want to do or how they want to manage that child?
Yes, that's the goal. So this is the evidence-based opinions of the 22-member panel that came up with those key decision points and the specific guidelines based on the evidence.
So let me ask you a few rapid fire questions that come to mind. First of all, is it all de-identified information? If you enter information on some patient, you have to then download that into your chart to remember that's what the support tool said. How do we know what to do when that patient comes back next time?
Yes, because of rules around electronic medical records, we can't have the tool save any information. Otherwise, it would have been categorized as an electronic medical record. So when a user goes to the website and fills out the information in the tool, that won't be saved in the tool. However, on the last page, when they're given our advice of what glasses they should prescribe, the follow-up, and what treatment they might prescribe, there are a couple ways where they can print that or download that so that they could put that information directly into their electronic medical record as an output.
And my next question is, will these decision-making trees evolve? Will they be updated? Will it say, this is the version for 2026, but now you have another patient coming in, or maybe the same patient, and here's what we advise in 2028?
So we know that the literature changes over time. And the reason that we decided to make this a web-based app is so that we can, anytime there's major changes in the literature or on a regular basis, we can review the evidence behind the decisions and could update the app. So if someone had downloaded a app into their phone, then those might be older versions, etc. But with a web-based app, each time they go to the website, it is whatever the latest version is. So if we need to make any updates, it's live immediately.
Will users have the opportunity to give feedback and say, oh, it said this for this patient? I was leaning towards that.
We will have options for feedback from the users because we want to make sure that it's up to date and understandable. And if there's a discrepancy in what they think they would have prescribed compared to what we're recommending, we want to be able to look into those differences. We will be having regular study of the information to look for any snags people are running into, particular spots where people stop using the app in the middle or having surveys at the end that are very quick to see if they ran into any issues so that we can continue to evolve and keep it updated and user friendly.
And any regulatory agency issues, is this just allowable as a support tool? Does an FDA device need to be connected with this? What do we know about regulatory agencies? And also, what about using it around the world?
So, as far as regulatory agencies, we have use of it covered under the JCHR IRB if we're analyzing any of the data. The JABE Center for Health Research looked into what our obligations and our requirements were for oversight. If we're not entering patient data that will be saved, then we're not having it considered an electronic health record. And as I understand it, the regulations over decision support tools are not requiring FDA device or other oversight in that manner.
Very good. And finally, is there a cost?
No, this is free, available to anyone around the world. The regulations and recommendations were made based on US users, but anyone with internet access can access this from a smartphone, a desktop, or a laptop computer and utilize it.
And Allison, we have the website listed in the special communications article. Is that the best way for people to access this?
Yes, thank you so much.
Well, Dr. Allison Summers, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with this web-based amblyopia decision support tool, which has been named the Amblyopia Navigator Decision Support Instrument.
Thank you so much for having me. We hope that this review and the paired free app that we affectionately call Andy will serve as a user-friendly decision support tool for diagnosing and managing the most common forms of amblyopia in children.
You can find a link to the article in this episode's description. This episode was produced by Shelley Steffens at the JAMA Network. To follow this and other JAMA Network podcasts, please visit us online at jamanetworkaudio.com or search for JAMA Network wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
This content is protected by copyright by the American Medical Association with all rights reserved, including those for text and data mining, AI training, and similar technologies.